off your feet. Watch out.
No, come on, come on. I'm fast, bro. I just run.
You wild for wearing fragments, though.
You gotta wear them.
Hell no. Mango! Mango! Kobe! 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 Drop him. You can't shoot.
Can't shoot. Let's go. Let's go.
Too little. Mango!
Steve, don't worry about it. Keep playing. Keep playing. Hey, Steve, don't worry about it.
Bang, bang. Boom!
All good? Yep. Well, here we are, game 2 at the 14-minute mark, and the number 1 seed, Night Owls, in complete control at 24-6. It's just too bad that It's All Good 8th seed does not have their main players tonight. They probably have 2 or 3 solid players that are not here tonight. So here's a situation where they only have 5 guys, and they're up against the number 1 seed. And the number 1 seed's really kind of cruising it right now here in the first half at the 13-minute mark in the first half, 25-6. Another 3-pointer there by Jacob Rahimi. Long 3. T with a nice layup there. Ball moving up to Steve. Steve's gonna decide on maybe taking a shot here. Missing it. Tip to the wrong guy. Here comes T coming down. Ball moving over to Keontae. Keontae's gonna take a corner shot. 3 is good. We got a 31-9 game at the 12-minute mark in the first half. Oh, right there, it's over there. You can bring it over here when you're done. Another layup. We got a layup drill going on right now with the Night Owls. The timeout is being called by It's All Good. 33, 2 per half.
2.5.
2.5, yeah. 1 minute timeout. AV Fitness down here in Silver Lake, you know, it's 33-9.
Said I'm shooting like a young Harrison.
Hey, that's real though.
Just under a 12-minute mark here in the first half. Like, Night Owls are kind of cruising it right now with a big lead, 33-6. Of course, you got Jacob Rahimi trying to do everything he can. He's made a couple long threes. And here comes Will bringing the ball down. Throws it inside. Didn't need to do that. Another turnover here.
Bang, bang.
Another three from the corner, 36-9. And I got Arlen Proctor over here. Of course, you know, my color commentary buddy, my friend, a buddy that's played in this league in the past. And he's here to help me out. What do you see out there, Arlen?
Well, Dennis, so far we got Keontae, who's attacking inside. He's hitting from outside. He's getting defensive stops. He's dominating this game.
Now, of course, that being said, you know, Keontae being one of the better players in this league, you know, it's all good. You know, they're definitely in trouble here with playing against the number one seed. That's their well-oiled machine right now. You know, being the number one seed for the first time, a team that's, you know, put themselves in position to not only win this game, but maybe win this all. You know, Seth Johnson being the captain of his team, he's really put himself in a great position in the past few seasons. And you know, Arlen, you've seen this team around.
Absolutely true, absolutely, Dennis. And the thing with the Night Owls is they've gotten better every session, both in their chemistry and the roster. And you really see it with Seth as well, because he's gotten more mentally tough. He's gotten more focused every single game I've seen him play. And I think, you know, in the first couple of sessions, he was really asked to do a lot. He probably led his team in shot attempts almost every game. And you really see him pick his spots a little bit more. And this game is a good example, because part of the reason that they have the 39 and the big lead that they do is him really seeing when to give the ball up and when to attack and take advantage of his matchup. And he's at the line right now because he kept the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, Seth Johnson, of course, known around the Northwest. He's played in a lot of basketball leagues in his lifetime over here. Of course, originally from Bothell High School. These buddies of his, he's played over the years with. You know, they all kind of understand each other, when to give him the ball, when to get the ball out of his hand. But I think the key thing is, and you brought up earlier, Keontae Woods.
When you have a guy like Keontae, you know, you ride the hot hand and you want to give him enough shots and enough touches to stay in rhythm. And you know, I think with a guy like Seth, he's so competitive, just like Keontae, of course. But you know that Seth wants to shoot the ball and wants to have an impact. And so it really, you know, it shows that high basketball IQ that he's also getting stops and taking tough matchups and letting his teammates take over when that's the way to get the win.
Now looking on the other side of the coin here, you got it's all good. Of course, Jacob Rahimi is trying to do whatever he can do, but he's taking a lot of outside shots. You know, and it's one of those things where, you know, I don't care who you are, you're taking that deep shot like that. What are you looking at, 30%?
Yeah, that's a tough one, and you know, that's almost one of those ones he made. I think the first deep one that he took, and then has maybe not hit the rim on the last couple, and you know, you see his teammates shake their head a couple different times, and then we've got Kamal here taking the deep one, and that's not necessarily his game, but you know, Jacob understands that he's going to be a guy who needs to certainly cross that 20-point and maybe that 30-point threshold if they're going to have a chance here.
Now, Jacob, we know he's going to get shots up and everything like that, but I need to see a little bit more out of him. I see him being a facilitator, be able to set guys up. You know, we got a double team situation coming up. He's got to let that ball go.
Yeah, exactly, and he just doesn't have the matchup tonight in the sense that, you know, Keontae understands exactly how to lock a guy like him up, and here he gets the switch, and even this matchup here is not necessarily going to work in his favor.
Well, you know, another long shot, ill-advised, and they got the ball back, but then they just threw it away again. So it's all good. It's tough. They only have 5 guys tonight, but they're not putting themselves in any position to be able to come back here if they're going to play like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've certainly been on teams and played in games where you find yourself in this position. And we both know that the only recipe is defense when you're in this situation, especially against a team like Night Owls. You're just simply not going to outshoot them. You have to get turnovers, and you got to slow this game down. The pace here is incredibly high, and that favors Night Owls.
Yes. Yeah, being at 47 points with still 7 minutes to go, I mean, this could be an easy 120, 130-point game.
Yeah, absolutely true. And you can see Night Owls taking their foot off the gas just ever so slightly here. And, we got to wonder how the second half's going to start, because you could see this getting up to a 50-point deficit here pretty quickly, I think.
Right, you see that for sure. You see the discouraged faces of the it's all good. They're getting down at this point, but what they really need to do is forget the score at this point and win the small little battles. Try to see if you can get, some shots and some ball efficiency, some ball movement, just to get something positive going on offensively.
Yeah, absolutely true. And this is where, it is. It's going back to the fundamentals where you win some individual plays and some individual matchups. And I was saying this a lot last week, but you need to set screens. You need to move the ball around. We haven't seen all 5 players touch it on the It's All Good team yet, and I think that's another one where that's how you get that rhythm. Where you're not going to outshoot the Night Owls, but you want more than 2 players to feel confident when it does come to them.
Sounds right. There's Spencer just stepping in over here. Spencer's gazing up at the wall, hoping that maybe his team can have an opportunity to get those brand new team jerseys that I've ordered. They are in the color red this season, and every season I'm going to try to put together a nice custom jersey for the teams that win.
We're going to call that championship red, that's for sure. That is championship red, and Spencer not the only one that I've seen gaze longingly up at those shirts.
Yep. Well, that being said, Night Owls is, they're gazing up there too. They want to be able to take those jerseys home now. They got their own brand, the Night Owls, their own custom jerseys. I like them. They're reversibles. I think they got them locally, but they really are a nice fit. They even have team warm-up T-shirts.
Wow, the team warm-up is a new one. That's something I'd like to see a few more teams come out with. I think the Night Owls have one of the best jerseys here, and it's things like that I think that really does actually get everybody just that much more tuned up. You can laugh if you want, but especially when you're bringing the same guys and really working on that chemistry like we were talking about before, the shirt matters. It does.
Yeah, this is a team that could. They're excited. They're enjoying themselves. Everybody getting in the scorebook. But yeah, like you said, this is the type of team you can actually get your names on the back of the jersey because they're coming back.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And we see him hitting the second shot in a row there. And it's a situation where the Night Owls have all the confidence right now, all the chemistry, and you can hear it when the ball goes in. They're expecting it.
Yep. Look at that ball movement.
Great offense. That's great offense right there. All 5 players moving, all 5 players cutting, putting pressure on the defense. It shows you that it's not all about shot making.
And part of what I always try to, kind of keep on telling my Hoppa Breed team, sometimes, if you want to rest, offensively, move the ball around without dribbling, and then make the defense get a little tired, have them chase the ball around. And, I keep on telling them, we don't have a shot clock in here, but I always tell them, if you're shooting within 5 seconds of a shot clock, supposedly, what are we doing? It's not helping.
Absolutely. What you're doing is you're saying that you're not confident, and you're giving the defense confidence when you do that. And like you're saying, not only do you get a chance to rest when you move the ball around like that a little bit, but you really don't have to do much more than one reverse oftentimes to get a much easier shot. And in a lot of ways, looking not at the scoreboard, but just looking at the 10 guys on the court moving around, you can see who's ahead.
Well, there we go. It's all good trying to call a third timeout, which they don't have, but the referee was gracious enough to tell them, hey, I'm not going to give you a tech, just keep playing.
Yeah, that is great refereeing, and I think this is the type of game that we could see get very out of hand in the second half. And
well, like you said, it's at that 40-point threshold, 39 to be exact. I mean, you know, a game within a game, you know, right now being down 39 with 2 minutes to go, can they win the last 2 minutes?
Truly. You know, you have to break it down into smaller parts and focus on things like that. And you know, this is where, you know, setting screens and really understanding where you want to get a shot. Not simply, let's say, Jacob taking one, just dribbling it right up the court, 0 passes, you know, no screens, anything like that.
Yep.
But he's going to become tired with all the work he's having to do on both sides of the floor if they don't do some things where he can get some easy ones.
And here's Night Owls. It just kind of looks like they're just practicing three-point shots. Everybody's wide open.
Yeah, truly. And you see right there also attacking the offensive glass when you know that a team is a little bit gassed. Like you said, only having 5 guys. This is a really smart way to approach it to keep growing that lead.
Well,
Steve there with a near turnover, and you know, absolutely swarming Night Owl defense here. They're definitely not going to, I don't think, let the It's All Good team win this final 2 minutes.
Steve that just saw the ball, you know, we were playing at LA Fitness the other day. Steve was asking about, you know, he always asks about, you know, what he needs to do to improve his game. And one of the things I noticed, we're warming up 30 minutes before we had our open run and taking our jumpers. And I noticed his jumper, he releases the ball in a way where he's already at his peak and almost just basically coming down.
It's a little late. Yeah, it's a little bit late, absolutely. And you know, there's a lot of guys who are going to take that guide hand away even earlier than they need to because they did maybe have a problem or they want to make sure and not affect the trajectory with that guide hand. But I would say that he's also somebody who could probably leave the guide hand up there just a touch longer. Tucks the elbow in though, at least.
Yeah, and I had him take some mid-range jumpers without jumping, and it just looked so fluid. He made like 5 in a row, and I thought, man, maybe you just need to just not focus on the jump and just focus on just getting your rhythm shot in there.
That's great advice. There's a lot of guys who don't actually need to jump. It in fact, is complicating things for them unnecessarily. And you know, he's following through, and again, he's got the elbow tucked.
I was going to finish that.
Well, we got a halftime score, 22-68. The Night Owls, being the '1 seed, is dominating this game. They're really, you know, kind of tuning up for next week, and they will be playing, of course, if they win this game, they will be playing Fab 7, seed number 1 and seed number 5. Fab 7, being the 5th seed, kind of a small upset there with the 4th seed being Hopper Braid, took them down by 2. But, you know, in this league, there's upsets, you know, every season. There seems like, you know, there's teams that come back from crazy deficits, but that's what makes this league exciting. You know, a lot of great players in this league, so it's fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, you definitely see games like this where the matchup doesn't favor one team and the score can get relatively out of hand relatively quickly. But you know, like you were saying to me, Dennis, before this game started, the closeness of the previous game, and that it really does come down to sometimes execution and 2 to 3 possessions right in those final minutes, where not only was it a small upset, but it came right down to the end.
Well, there's another turnover there right at the start of the second half. You know, like we were talking about earlier, you know, you got to try to win the little battles. And, you know, there's the first possession turnover, but then there was a missed shot there. I'm looking at things here. Let's see if they can just be efficient and get efficient open look. That's another bad shot here, but I'd like to see It's All Good. They're going to lose this game, but let's just see if they can get an open look, a nice little ball movement.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is also where Steve, you know, I think will plan to come back next session and you know, is going to continue to grow in terms of how he constructs these rosters. And you know, this is where you see how much the athleticism and the conditioning really matters, because there's no question here, Night Owls are again just keeping the pace so high, swarming to the ball. And with the It's All Good team only having 5 guys, I hope this will be the last session that Steve makes that mistake.
Yes. You know, well, I'm looking at what Jacob is doing here. You know, he got the foul out of it, but he kind of, you know, an efficiency of basketball, dribbling the ball 6 or 7 times in the same spot.
Not looking for his teammates.
not looking for teammates. I mean, I'd like him to see maybe, pass the ball and then cut to the basket without the ball. It's hard to guard somebody without the ball. That's a key thing. He's been kind of drilled and trained himself to just kind of handle the ball.
Absolutely, and it's very difficult. They are setting a few more screens, and I think you can see pretty clearly what the It's All Good team would like to do here in terms of kind of out here at the volleyball line, setting 1-2, almost like a fist action. Setting a couple screens for him and getting him moving left to right. But that's also where guys would much rather walk north-south into their deep jump shots. If he is going to start to get hot, it's hard to be moving laterally and then get yourself set and balanced. And that's where, like you were saying, he did get a foul out of that one, but it required him to dribble the ball about 6 times to, even though he got the screens that he wanted. Night Owls knows pretty well what they're trying to do now. Here we see the triple team, the double team.
Wow. Yeah, they got to get that ball moving just to keep the rest of your team involved. If you start chucking up shots like that, nobody wants to play defense now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say for me, if I was coaching these guys, some handoff action is going to make a big difference. You can see here that the screeners man for the It's All Good team is coming up and trapping every time because they know that screener is not fast enough to roll. And the first time that we see a screener roll to the basket, they should be able to get an easy one. There's no one under the basket for Night Owls. There's actually some points that are available there. But I'm not sure that the It's All Good team's going to recognize that in time.
Well, let's just analyze a little bit here. The next possession here for It's All Good. They bring the ball down. Look at the guys off the ball. Steve here is trying to receive the ball. He's going to move it up. Is he going to wait for somebody? No. He's going to kind of put himself in a position where, traps himself in the corner.
Absolutely. Definitely not the direction that you'd want him to go. And definitely not going to be a high percentage shot. Even if he turns that corner there, he's at a little bit of a height disadvantage. He's at a quickness disadvantage. Had there been another player cutting for the It's All Good team coming from the opposite side of the court, you potentially have a play to be made. But like you're saying, he's dribbling towards the corner with no help at all.
Well, the Night Owls, if anything, they're getting out of this game is they're getting good rhythm. They're being able to get themselves some good practice shots up. Get some conditioning in for next week.
Really get their confidence sky high, and it'll be interesting, when we see the game next week. Sometimes that can hurt you a little bit, and they haven't had to make any adjustments yet, really. And so it'll be intriguing when they go up against a team that's in condition like they are and has the athleticism to shut down the first thing that they're doing, because in this game, of course, they're just getting whatever they want.
Well, then again, it's one of those things I look at players and go, if you keep on doing something expecting different results, here we go again, another shot from outside, again, another missed shot. The percentage right now for him shooting outside has got to be like 10%.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great example. He saw that first one go in, and that might have not been a good thing on the whole. Maybe he makes a couple floaters, but it's time for him to just make plays for his teammates at this point, because those type of shots are not useful, really, in any way at this point. Hey, but there we go, right on cue.
Right on cue. Good call.
Great find, and a nice finish.
Let's see if they can score 2 buckets in a row here.
Would love to see that. Let's see if they can get their spacing. Let's see if we can space the floor out right.
Yeah, oh, wow, he threw it way ahead.
Wow.
I mean, wow.
Can't get there.
Very confident in Kamal's speed.
Yeah.
And maybe in the first half of the game, Kamal would have still had the energy to get there. You can see he's had to do a lot, especially on the defensive side. Yeah. But it's hard at this point for the It's All Good team to get all 5 guys on one side of the court.
Like I said, when you have 5 guys and you're getting beat down like this, I mean, a lot of times just take your rest on offense. You're not going to win the game. Just move the ball around, and get your rest, get your win back.
Absolutely, and just get the feel of it a little bit. Watch how the defense reacts as you move the ball around, and especially right now where Night Owls being so high pressure in their defense, you actually might be able to get a few free ones. I mean, we've got 2 Night Owls here almost above the volleyball line, pretty close. But there should be space underneath the basket.
Well, there, you heard the referee walk by and that guy can shoot, but I don't know if he don't remember. Maybe he didn't remember the, the 90% of shots he missed.
Absolutely agree, and certainly the way the game is played at this point, you see a lot of guys who love to take shots like that, and it sure does feel good when they go in. And as we know, the number one thing trait maybe in a shooter is don't worry about the last play, don't think about the one that you missed, just keep shooting. And Jacob certainly got that.
Well, the Night Owls, they got a couple Steves on the court. They got a Jacob, they got a Kamal, and they got a Will. And it's all good though.
It's all good. It's all good. And Will's another guy who can shoot. We all know that. He's another guy been in the league for a long time, and I know how much he loves to get a corner three off of some nice ball movement. And I've seen him really hurt teams before, but I'm not sure if I've seen him touch the ball yet.
Yes, that's a tough thing to see that, because he is a capable shooter. Here he is kind of going down to the ground. If I'm looking at his body language, he's kind of just standing over there.
Hands at his sides.
Yeah, he needs to kind of. Yeah, he needs to really want to try to, create his own destiny, get the ball.
Well, and you see too here on the other end as he runs with Keontae Woods, and it highlights just that when you only have 5 guys, a lot of the time just simply running with the defense as we get into the latter half of the second half here is what can really wear you out when you're at an athletic disadvantage.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We got Will with a shot. Missing the layup though.
Tough going into that defense there. Again, you can see the Night Owls swarming. It almost feels like they have 6 guys out there sometimes. They're very, very active.
Yes.
Blood in the water, I think, a little bit.
Well, I like to see a team, they're already up and they're not thinking about how much they're up. They're just trying to play while they play. Be aggressive, stay aggressive, be consistent. They're not thinking about the score right now. Look at them. Look at the eyes of Seth, and look at Eddie coming up, playing hard on the main shooter, a floater. Did it go?
It did. A nice shot, and that's good defense by Eddie. And I think Eddie is a great example. We talked about this a little bit last week of every great team has a guy like Eddie who knows his role, and it's things like that where he's going to chase oftentimes the best perimeter player on the other team and make them work for everything. And that one went in, but certainly it wasn't easy and took a lot of energy.
I don't know what happened there, but 94-33 with 10 minutes and 45 seconds. I think, looking at that situation, after the ball went in the hole, one teammate's trying to bounce it off the wall to give it to the other teammate. Kind of like this, rat ball style play, but referee's got to clean that up, figure it out.
Yeah, agreed, absolutely.
So we have a timeout, 94-33. In the history of this league, I don't know if anybody's made it 100 points with still 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, absolutely. This is as high scoring as I've ever seen, and they're not having to work too hard to get these 94.
Well, Arlen, with 10 and a half minutes to go, 94-36. I'm kind of just looking towards the next game. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think we've, in a lot of ways, said everything there is to say here. This is a situation that we talked about a little bit last week, where when your best player loves to dribble the ball and doesn't necessarily want to move off the ball a whole lot, it's very difficult for the other players not only to feel involved, but to get into any kind of offensive rhythm, because this is what we've watched here, is a lot of passes right from the top of the circle into the corner. And, here's Will getting his confidence for sure. That's the second attack from the corner where he went strong right to the basket and is daring the Night Owls to really stop him. And it'll be interesting to see next week if their interior defense can stand up to some pressure, because if I'm scouting this game, that's how I'm attacking the Night Owls.
Right. Sometimes when the situation we're here where the team that just wins, that's going to be playing against the next team, kind of hangs out and wants to see how it's going on. But I think it's set in stone already. They know they're going to be the Night Owls.
Definitely, and what you see here with the group that the Night Owls has is they're absolutely undersized. And we were watching the guys last week who bring three big players here, where I think that's a matchup that would be extremely difficult for the Night Owls, despite how talented they are and the good chemistry. Size is what wins basketball games.
And there it is. With 8 minutes and 30 seconds to go, they have reached the 101 mark. I think that's a record here in the league, and it's happening in the Summer League of 2023. Oh, nice little backdoor opportunity, but yeah. Oh, wait, got the ball back. Will offensive rebound.
Will really showing his basketball IQ right now in terms of just the spots he's attacking on the floor, and finding a way to get some points. And you wouldn't even call this keeping it respectable, but you got to find a way to put the ball in the basket. And despite how good of a shooter, is 3 layups in a row for him.
Yes, we're at a 61-point deficit. That might be a record too, Arlen. I don't know when's the last game being this big of a deficit?
No, I certainly haven't seen 61 in this league, that's for sure. And in a lot of ways, this is absolutely the recipe for it. In terms of a team with such strong chemistry, a team that plays very aggressively, and has continued to put the pressure on, and like you said, is really not looking at the score.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it's all good. They look really tired. The other team doesn't look that tired. That's just kind of using too much energy when you don't need to.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
He played with them already twice. Last week when he played on the other team was just a favor for his dad, because that game, the 1-8, kind of a 1-8, it didn't matter who won or lost, but if there was some type of upset, it would be considered a forfeit anyway, because that wouldn't matter. I was just giving Jay and his dad an opportunity to play extra games because they're on vacation before going back to college. And I got it cleared with all coaches involved.
Hey, Jerry, stop ducking the smoke.
Another three-pointer there, making a 110-40 lead. We're looking at a 70-point lead here. 70-point lead. Like I said, I haven't seen a deficit like this in the Move Fitness, and again, looked like a opportunity for a steal. A lot of times guys bringing the ball down in traffic. You got to be aware of what's behind you. You got to constantly keep your head on a swivel. I see a lot of players look down when they dribble. I always tell my college players, you already know where the floor is at. You don't need to look down there. You got Paul from the corner, great sharp shooter. you know, you can't leave him open. You know, he's going to hit that shot consistently. You know, got to talk with Paul down in a 3-on-3 in Everett. You know, we're in the same, you know, division, you know, basically like a 35 and over, which really for me is stretching. You know, I'm at 51, but, you know, Paul had a group of buddies together, and it was a lot of fun that way. How you doing, Jackie? Come and sit down. Got Jackie Jones here hanging out with me. Jackie Jones, of course, a former standout player in college. Of course, played overseas. He had opportunities in NBA. Oklahoma University. You know, the great story about him is, you know, he's got a son that's an outstanding phenom. At 6'8", is that Jackie? That's right. 6'8". How tall is your son? 6'7". LeJay Jones, call him Jay. He kind of lit this league up a couple weeks ago with some great highlights of dunking and, you know, jumping from close to a free throw line a few times, and being able to come over here and visit his dad for the summer, being able to have to, you know, come out here and have a good time playing. It was fun. It was definitely fun. Grab another chair. And now, you know, being able to see his son come out here and perform the way he does, it's going to be fun to definitely do this. Jackie, you're yeah, sit down. Jackie, that's Arlen, Jackie. So, you know, we're having a lot of fun down here at MUV, you know, being able to kind of highlight these players that have some great skill set, but, you know, right now this is a mismatch that we have not seen in all of this, you know, this league. You know, they're down 70-something points.
Yeah, and I think at this point too, you know, when we were watching the first half, it was about shot making, and no question Night Owls haven't really slowed down in terms of their shot making, but this is a swarming defense, and you know, as much as their confidence is going to grow, you know, on the offensive side, I'll be very interested to see if they're able to attack their next matchup defensively like this.
Well, like Arlen, you just got to meet Jackie Jones. Jackie Jones is a standout player. He's in the Seattle area. He lives here now. You know, he played college ball in the area, and of course, he, you know, eventually went to Oklahoma University, big university, Division I school. Played overseas for many years, and of course, had his shots with NBA teams. You know, now, you know, it's always a dream come true when you know, as a basketball player, you got a son that has the, you know, ability to do the same kind of thing. So I don't know if you got to see Jay play, you know, outstanding, you know, athlete that he is, but also a great competitor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, we talked about the quality of individual players and of teams, you know, that we really get to see in this league, and I think that really shows it. You know, Jay is one of the best players overall in the league. I think there's no question about that, and so it shows the pedigree that he comes from, you know, and I'm sure Jackie taught him a lot, you know.
Yeah. Now that being said, you know, Jackie's here. You know, I got to meet him a few weeks ago. He's been able to get his son to play, you know, a summer league over at Shoreline. But I wanted to ask Jackie, give us a little background again with your, you know, where you all started with basketball and how it all became up to this point.
Well, it started me being a trainer, and he was running my training sessions at about 4 or 5 years old. That's where it started from. It was high school kids like, I don't want to go out there and train with him because he know a little bit more than I do. It's like, I'm just trying to explain to you that if he can do it at 4 or 5 years old, you can do it, and you can learn to do this at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. Yeah. So that's how he was introduced to the basketball world.
Yeah. Now, you know, as parents of kids that, you always want to hope that they pick up anything and love it. And like you said, he really loved it early. But where did you see the competitive fire start growing in him when he started playing competitive basketball?
True story. He was about 4 or 5 years old. He was playing with 9 and 10-year-olds, and he was killing them. And somebody called him Kobe Bryant. He started crying because, like, Kobe Bryant shoot too much.
Oh, really?
So he stopped. The competitiveness was still there, but it was just he was not himself anymore after that. So I'm trying to get that fire back into it, into him. That's a true story.
Yeah, but he didn't want to be the guy who was ball hogging and was shooting too much.
But he had to do it.
That's a big lesson. That's a big lesson. Somebody's got to be the Kobe Bryant on the team. Somebody got to have that confidence.
How was his growth height-wise at an early age?
He was actually smaller than most people. I'm 6'8", mom 5'10", and my mom was 6'1", and my dad was like 6'3". I was in that 6'8", but I thought he was going to outgrow me. But he's only 19, so we still have a couple more years, I pray. That,
One more little boost, right?
One more.
How tall is he now?
6'6", 6'7".
Yeah.
We don't know. He jumped so high, we don't even count it no more. I'm like,
That's why I kind of said 6'8" at one time, and I was just because of his jumping ability, I kind of thought maybe he has to be at least 6'8". I mean, be able to do that kind of stuff. But he plays on one of the top teams in this league, Perseverance. Spencer being the captain of that team. It's a great story about Spencer. Spencer has his own AAU program called Perseverance, and he's a great coach. He loves the game. He's a great talent himself. And I saw him come into this league last season, struggling at times, and now he's got his team where he likes it. Of course, with Jay being a part of that team, has covered that situation where he lost Deshaun McPherson last season. So now that he has this guy here, you might be able to see some good stuff this next game, huh?
Yeah, that's a big void to fill, and Spencer's a guy who's still growing in his understanding of the game.
I guess I'm just his bag boy now. He just throws water at me and his bag and
The role of pops, right? You teach him, and then this is what you get, right? You get the bag at your feet.
I just want him to know when you make it, it's going to come all back on you because rookies have to do this.
Hey, that's for sure. That's absolutely true, and I'm sure you had that moment at one point. I certainly carried bags a lot more often than I shot three-pointers, but it teaches you that humility, which even based on your story before, it kind of sounds like that's been important to him for a long time.
Yes. And this guy Jerry Boston is a good friend of mine, but I might have